we will be showing like a story from the moment you start designing your database until you build some Java application. We will select a small database to accomplish today, to implement at the database level, and a little bit of programming. We will show some like rare case scenarios that might help you also while you're implementing your project. I'll tell you about the database. I'm going to create a new ER diagram, and okay, this is my diagram. The diagram talks about a bank account. An account has a customer, right? And what do you need when you go to the bank? You need to either deposit or what? Withdraw. So, what entities we have, Lena, in the customer?
The customer, you should have ID.
Okay, customer and his information. Customer ID is a primary key. What else?
Account number.
No, the other entity is what?
Branch.
Account. So, account, right? Account could have a branch, okay, but I said for the time being, we'll just take some. What's your account? What do you find? Your balance, huh?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to know why your balance is 0, you need to have some type of transactions, you know what I mean? Transactions when it comes to databases is very, very important. Transaction history is very important. Like you deposit, current account is, you withdraw, account becomes something like this. So, whenever you deposit or you withdraw money from your account, you need this transaction to be saved. So, even if the transaction fails, you go to the ATM, you withdraw, tell you everything is fine, you get a message but no money. So, in this case, the transaction ATM is reported to be failed. So even they cancel all the previous queries, let me say. And khalas, the money is going to go back to your account, right? It happened to almost all of you, right? Okay. So our first entity is going to be what? Let me say, I'll use different names because when we go to the Eclipse, I'll use a database that's already there, okay? Be customer, okay? What else? What do we need here? Add a value, SA ID, and this ID is what? Okay, add another value, name, add another value, phone. Of course, we can have date of birth and all these things, okay? Fine. Second entity is what? Account, right? Another entity, B account. What do you need? Maybe account number or ID, right? With accounts usually refer to number, but it can be ID, let us say number. Or ACC underscore number, right? And what else?
Unique. It's unique.
This is unique. Balance, yeah, excellent, thank you. Add another one, balance. Balance. Okay. What else you need to do? Branch. If we add branch, which is right, 100%, we need to add another table for branches, like branch IDs and names. So here in this table, we'll only add what? The branch ID. Mazboot? So before we add a branch here, we need to go to that entity. No need to add branch ID now, because when we connect them with relationships, those fields are going to be added. You know what I mean, right? Okay. Balance and okay, we can talk about type of account, whatever, business, personal, saving, current, whatever. Okay, khalas. Now, actually, in reality, a bank account has one customer, but this is not always the case. There are so many shared accounts. Okay? Yani you can have many-to-many relationships between what? Account and maybe for this example, we'll use one-to-many. We'll assume that each customer has many accounts, and an account is only used by what? By one customer. Okay? Fine. Let me do the relationship. Connect this to this. I can say has, okay. Okay. طيب, what? Yalla, tell me about this one, how to do it. The relationship is going to be from customer. Is it mandatory? Huh?
Yes.
Mandatory, you can many, and mandatory but one, right? مظبوط? This is very important to start planning at this phase. خلاص, we are done with this one. Now we need the bank account. I say usually in your account you'll have the current balance only. But there is a long list. You may get your bank statements, huh?
Yeah.
There's a long list of transactions, right? Okay. Usually, so each bank account has a long list of transactions, right? So I can create a new entity and call it what? Transaction, okay? Trans. I'll call it trans just to avoid any duplicate names that I have done before. Okay. Of course, transaction has an ID, unique, and yeah, another one like, before we say amount, most important is date, okay? Date, okay. What else?
Time.
Date and time is one, okay? We can specify both of them. We can add these details, okay? What else? Amount, because it's either deposit or what? Okay. Type, صح? It can be withdrawal or deposit, صح? Okay. And later we will add the account number, right? صح? Once we establish the relationship and once we go to the ER schema, we will do this. So now, these are the things I need to know about what? About the transaction, date and time and this one. What else? If you establish a relationship, the foreign key is going to be added. If you do it right, well, what lab you are in, Sunday or Tuesday? Tuesday, maybe you didn't know. So once we create it, if your relationship is created properly, the foreign key is going to be added. Okay, no, so far we don't have the customer ID in this one, right? And we don't have the bank account in this one. So let's see what happens, okay? So now let's establish a relationship between what? Account and what? Transactions. Of course, this is a very, very simplified example. In reality, a bank account has so many other things. Connect bank account to transaction. And we can say what? Tell me. What is the relationship? Okay. Recourse, let me say, recourse transactions. One bank account. Okay. Yalla, go ahead, tell me. How many? Huh? Optional and has what? Many. Can it be mandatory? Why not?
Because some accounts already saved like.
Even savings account.
No, some accounts they just save.
You just open account and nothing happens, right? Yeah, it can be. Okay, but this one is mandatory and it should be only linked to what? One account, okay? This is our account. If we say this is mandatory, that's fine. Okay. And did it change? Here, mandatory many and mandatory one. It can be optional. Let me make sure. I need to save first to see the differences. Okay. Huh? Yeah, here. Okay, now I see better. Shukran, ya Alina. Okay, optional many and mandatory one. Good. So this is our, it seems to be, if you have any problems with this one or more details, you need to start working here, not on the schema, not on the SQL. And if you need to add few things here or make sure the relationship or details these things, you can do this here. If we still need to add what? Branch, we can go and do what? Something like branch ID name, address, and this stuff. You know what I mean? And connect what? Your bank account to the branch, okay? If I save this one now and it is already saved, but usually the way they save them is without names. And I think I need to go back to diagrams. Okay, this is the one, diagrams here. And I need to rename it bank example. Okay, so this is our bank example, as you see here. If I open it, this is my bank example. If you want to create the schema now from it, you just go to diagram and go to bank example and convert ER to schema. Do not trust this 100%. You still need to review so many things like check and other things. You know what I mean? Now I'm gonna go here to bank example again. Okay, here you can do, not everything you really want, but once you convert it to schema, you need to double check the types. And did I click on convert? It takes time. Here, bank example. This is our what? Our schema. Transactions. Mariam, here as you see now, the foreign key has been added automatically. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So you don't have to add it at the ER diagram level. In the ER diagram, your foreign key is actually the connection. The way you connect them defines the foreign key. Of course, when you come to this example now here, maybe you need to pay attention to some data types, like data. For example, here, this is date, should not be. Here you can go and change type to what? Date. And amount, integer. Account number is integer, for example. If you go to customer, name is going to be what? Varka. Okay, where is it? Bueno. Here, yeah. Okay, maybe 50, okay? Good. Account number, and this one D. Balance is integer and foreign key. Account number. Good. Does that make sense? Of course, you can add more once you generate the SQL. Before you really add it to the Oracle engine or the database, you can add your check. Constraints like foreign keys and primary keys are added, okay? But something like check or default value or can be done either by altering the tables you have already created or by before you generate the. Let me here saved also. Export SQL. This is our SQL. Big bank customer. Okay. I don't see a primary key here. Bank customer. Did we make a mistake? Where? Oh yeah, here. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, right. So here, foreign keys here and foreign keys here. Primary key, integer type, integer not null, amount, integer not null. You can make check balance for saving account must be greater than 0, right? Okay, and so on. You can take these things, for example, now. I'm not sure if 100% they're going to work with Oracle, but let us try here one of them. Even if they need some changes, okay, Scott, Tiger, edit, paste, okay, table created.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the group can share actually these things online. Each group can have one account, and because the good thing, whenever you change, you find that like a week from today something was wrong. You should go and change where ER diagram, regenerate the schema, and then share the same. Okay, same. I can take this again now here. I can take all of them if you will. Okay. So far, when I tested them, the ERD Plus, it used like standard ANSI or SQL, which is acceptable by all database engines. So here, for example, in Oracle we use number, not integer, right? Number, if we specify decimal places, then it is a float, right? So if you have such thing, something like this, usually account, is not gonna be integer, right? It's gonna be something with numeric and with decimals, right? Banks make a lot of money because of those things, those tiny numbers. So our database is created. Good? Type. I'll show you a different way today. Maybe this is the main reason why I'm here. I wanted you to see that before the lab. So in the lab we can really start working on it. I'll show you another way and to work on Oracle. And this is going to be not only using the SQL+. SQL+ is good for introductory days where we need students to really type codes so at least they know the very basics of the syntax. But if you remember the first weeks you wrote Java, then you started to use something like window builders and these things. I'll close this one. Of course, I need you to know that you have Oracle installed on this machine. Oracle has a name and Oracle runs on your machine on a certain port number. And now I created some tables as a Scott. So I can connect to Oracle service from Java, from PHP, from web programming, from anything. I just need to provide the username and what? Password. And you remember we could grant privileges long time ago. Like I can, if it's even not Scott's table, Scott can work on some other tables, right? Okay. Now I'll just go somewhere else and show you simple. Do you see SQL Developer? SQL Developer is an environment where you can also work on Oracle. It's an Oracle environment. It's much better than you just using SQL+, okay? It has not been used in this lab, but I think from this year we will be working on it from like third or fourth week. Okay. What is this? Nothing new to you, only the way you do it is new. Let us say there is nothing here, no Scott, nothing, okay? You are a user of this. You have an account on your Oracle, okay? Whatever you do from SQL+ can be done from here. Does that make sense? Okay. Let me tell you, if you have when you work on databases from applications like this, you need to connect. Actually, with SQL+, you used to connect. The first thing to type is what? Your username and what? Password, okay? So here, imagine this is a computer where many people using it. So you have access to see some tables and some other things. So you can create here, or click on the plus sign, and you can create a connection. You have a connection name, I'll call it demo connection. This is a connection name. But what's the username? For example, let us say Scott, or any other user, okay? And password is Tiger. And I think I showed you a long time ago, the Oracle name, when we install 11G is going to be what? ORCL. You remember the connection string you see in the Java code? ORCL. Okay? Now, Scott Tiger, Oracle ID is ORCL, test. It worked, connect. Okay. Now I have a connection here called what? Demo. For which user? Scott. Of course I have another one, if you see here, another one for another user called what? HR, who has his own tables, and another one for system. You know system, right? System is who? The admin of this. See here now. For this system I did not save the password, so I need to type it. So I can see everything. Now let's go back to demo. Who's demo? Scott, huh? Okay, look here. Now, this is really a different way. We can see all his what? His tables. Okay. We just did this, right? Be customer. Where's command? Be account and transact. Where is it? At T. We scroll down. You see what? Trends. Those are our. Okay. Our what? Okay. And I'm connecting as what? As demo, right? Okay, good. So if I open the account, here I see all tables. If I click on this, okay, I see that I can even make changes. I can change types, add something. Okay. Let me show you something more similar than this. At any time, maybe you need to write some SQL statements. Okay, I can go here, SQL, for example. I can type, this is the SQL of what? Of, if you want, you can add something here, right? Okay, but create table, Scott account, this is the way it's done internally inside the system, okay? Okay, I can show you the other table like B customer, okay? I can say you the constraints of who? Which table? Okay, I can show you the grants. Did you grant any privilege to any other user on this table? You can show statistics. We'll talk later about triggers and dependencies and other things. What columns you have? What are the types? Do you want to change them? Does that make sense to you? Okay, so I can go to another one, like, okay, I think we did long time ago something like sales, right? This is the same one we did, okay? This is sales. You remember this thing, quantity data, and these things. I can see constraints, okay? We have branch ID, foreign key, and what? We have the foreign keys we have done in the lab long time ago here. So this is our what? Our tables. And sometimes you create also what? Not only tables, you create views. So you will find your views. You remember Clear 1000, maybe for your midterm, right? And you have what? Customer orders. You have debt some number, debt whatever. Ends, which is a view for managers on EMB, okay? Show only manager. So you also have what? Views. Okay. Do you remember sequences? We used in Oracle, we said in Oracle auto number is like a long story. We need to create a sequence, and then when we insert, use sequence name next value, right? So whenever you create a sequence, you will find it under what? Sequences. Does that make sense? Okay. So Rima, maybe for the example I used today, transaction ID and bank account number are better to be done using what? Sequences. You agree on this? Yes or no? So we can go and create sequences to do what? The transaction ID and the account number, and maybe customer number. Okay? Maybe also the customer number. So here I created a sequence. Okay? I can show you the SQL here. Okay? So we can create one sequence for what? One sequence for, let me show you here, sequence customer. I created this yesterday, okay? Create sequence name, then minimum value, then maximum value, then the increment, start with cash this much. So you don't have to complete all these things. So whenever you create a sequence, you will find it available here. Those are the sequences of which user, girls? Of Scott. Okay? Does that make sense? So I have my tables, I have my sequences, I have my, later we'll talk about procedures. So if you want to run any SQL statement here, okay, you can, there are so many ways how to do it. One of them is just to click on what? SQL. Okay? On demo. This is very useful. Please look here. Okay? Select star from EMP. If you want to run this, just click on this one, okay? You see, this is the EMP table. Does that make sense? Okay? Whatever you used to do in SQL Plus can be done here. How did I get here? By just clicking on SQL sheet. And you need to decide which user you are, okay? If I go as HR, I can do something for HR. I can show all my tables, whatever I want to do. Okay? So this is select, you can create a sequence, right? Create sequence, start with minimum value, maximum value, increment, and cash. And whatever, if you create a sequence, it will be stored under what? Sequences. If you create a procedure, we don't know what procedure is. It will be stored under what? Look here, look, under what? Procedures. If you create a table, it will be stored under what? And they are all accessible to you. And they are all definitely have their own unique names. Table names are unique. You cannot, as one user, create the same table twice or same table name twice. Okay. Now, I'll stop here when it comes to the database design. We will take more on this in the lab. Okay? And we'll have some ready code and do this. Now, I created a database that is exactly similar to the one we created today. To save some time, I created a database. If you look at my tables here, I have account transaction, bank account, and bank customers, right? These are my three tables. They contain exactly the same what? The same field. Some of them maybe have, I don't think, nothing, huh? Bank account, account number, balance, and what? Okay, account transaction, the same, right? And bank customer, ID, name, and phone. I have my data here, right? Now, I managed to create a quick demo on using this database, okay? We will see what we did. Okay. Let's close some applications here. Okay, good. Okay. Of course, most of the things you see here are not new to you. When my program runs, I connect to the database. I don't even have an interface now. I just provide the username and password. The second thing, Hiba, what is here? I populate all what? Account numbers. You know what I mean? I go and select all account numbers and add them to this drop-down list. Okay? If you want to see the code, I think we have seen the code, but let us take a look at it at least once, okay? Where is the code? It's going to be here. When I run the projector and the screencast, it's going to be, okay. If you look at one of the first things we do here when we start our one of the first things I do, even after initializing the frame, is what, girls? Look, connect to what? To DB. Connect to DB, you have seen this before, so I just use this is the same text you're gonna use. Maybe if you change your username and that's it. I think Mahjabain, okay, she had some problem on Windows 10. If you have a problem on Windows 10, yeah. I think I sent you what you do on Windows 10. If it's you're not Mahjabain, you are. Okay, I still have double vision when it comes to you and okay. Right. And once I connect to the database, I go and what do? Something, fill all customer IDs. Yes, you expect what? Fill customer IDs, huh? But now we have something new also. This is part of the demo today. You remember our statement. We create a statement using SQL, and we work with it as string. You remember strings, right? And if you remember one time, Hiba, we had a problem with single quotes, double quotes, and plus equals. Did we add this? Did we add that? Prepared statement, and I also posted a special example on Blackboard on using prepared statement. It's a bit different than that. If you look at prepared statement, it's a statement. Okay? Maybe this example is not enough to show it. We'll show it in the next example. But the nice thing about a prepared statement, it's like a function. You say, I need 3 parameters, and then you just set the parameters. You don't have Rima to worry about the plus equal strings, concatenation, and these things. Did I add single quote, double quote, all these things? We will show this in the next example, much better way. But let us say here, statement, select what? Distinct ID from bank customer. Result set, and then I go and this is the drop-down list you see in the example. Here's the drop-down list. So the drop-down list now is populated because of this code. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, the second thing, if you click on a customer name, you need to show the customer details here. If I click on a customer name, I'll go from John Smith to Bill Gates, right? Here, I go to Bill Gates. So what happens in this code? You know, girls, like I have an action performed on which one? On this drop-down list. I keep saying drop-down list, but it's a combo box in Java, right? But I believe you know that, huh? Okay, I show not only the account of Bill Gates, but also his what? Not only the names, but also his what? His accounts, right? If you have transactions in this account, I can show it to you, but no transactions to this account. So here, for example, for Maradona, I have a list of what? Transactions. And this is very simple. It's very simple to do this, not complicated. You get that, girls? Okay, I can go to this account, click on this one, I show all the transactions of what? Of this guy. Just, Lena, by just clicking on the account number, go back to Maradona and click on this one, I see all the transactions. It is not difficult to do this. Very simple. You know how to implement a mouse click? You know, action. When you click on a mouse, you know how to do this, right? So when I click on a mouse, I find so many things. Now let's go back to what happens when I select this one. Okay, there is an action about customer change. So I can go back to the code here. This is the code. I call which one? Show selected customer, right? What is show selected customer? It will take the customer ID from the drop-down list, right? And do a query. See now you understand prepared statement much better than the previous one. The previous one actually makes no difference. Look, prepared statement, whatever statement, connection, prepared, select star from bank customer, where ID is equal to what? Question mark. This is new to you now, at least in the way I'm explaining it. What is the question mark? Is the missing what? Parameter. No need to go and now do what? Plus equals drop down list, get selected ID to string. You know what I mean? This is how we do it. خلاص. My statement set what is the customer ID? Integer, right? Set integer, which parameter? Maybe you have 4 or 5 parameters in your statement. Okay? Set integer 1, which is the ID, right? And you get, how you get the ID value? Of course, you all know integer, parse integer, and this stuff. Does that make sense? If you have 4 or 5 parameters, you just set string, or set double, or set date, or, and you specify. But you need to make sure you match the type, okay? If it's integer, you set integer. If it's a string, you use what? Now, khalas, what happens now? Whatever is here is gonna replace what? This one, khalas. So this actually avoids you a lot of complexity. So now, this is my statement now. I set the missing parameter here, and then what? Execute what? Query. The query will get you what? All the fields of the customer, which is ID and name and phone, right? So I get them here, and I show the data where? In the text fields on that page here. Here is the example. I change the customer name, I do the query and show the data here. Does that make sense? In some applications you can also go and change, we can benefit from this. I added one button here, which is what? Let us say Maradona has changed his name, okay? Maradona of Naples, okay? Okay? Now I click on what? Update. What is update now? It's gonna take what? This, and Maradona has changed his phone since he moved to Dubai, 971 whatever. Okay? So now we have a new information for this customer. I just click on what? Update is ready now. Why? Because we can take the customer ID from where? This is a primary key, right? So what is our update statement? Update bank customer set name equals to this, get text, right? Phone equals to this, get what? Get text. Phone number is text, is not numeric, by the way, because you do not use it for what? For calculations. So I click on update. Okay, and updated the information of Maradona. Let us see the text when I update. Of course, you can make another one where update customer info. Okay, I want you to see this because it's another what? Another good example of a prepared statement. Prepared statement is much easier than a statement. Look at the prepared statement. Update bank customer, set name equals, phone equals, where what? Khalas, I think now it's clear, right? So where you get the name? Now, Hiba, my statement, set string for which one? For name, 1. Set string, another one for phone. Set integer 3, which is what? The ID. And I think you have worked with this customer ID, you know how to convert string to integer value. Does that make sense, girls? And next is what? Execute query. And I show the customer details again. Why? To refresh it, you know, to refresh the view. So I think update now. And I could add what? Add new customer here, which is fine. Okay. What else we do here? I'm not used to 50-minute lectures, so I think I still have 3 hours for the demo. So I think I only have 9 minutes now. And what I do here? Whenever you go to a customer, I show a list of his accounts, and I show a list of his accounts, right? Let us see this step. Whenever you change Aisha, whenever you change this, I show the accounts of, okay, of whoever. Good?
Yes.
So where I get these things? From the second table, which is what? Accounts, right? Okay. So whenever you change a customer, I refresh data here. 1, I show the accounts 2, right? But you might have several accounts, right? Okay. So let us go to the code here. Of course, I think we talked about update customer info. What is the thing I use now? Show accounts what? And I call this thing again from where? I call this thing whenever you what? You change a customer. You get my point, girls? Whenever you change customer, I show his account and I do what? Show the account summary. Okay. Where is show account summary? Here. Prepare statement. My statement. Select star. Select star from where? Now, different table, which is what? Bank account. Where ID is what? Another time, a prepared statement. ID, I'll get the ID from where? From the customer ID, because I still have the customer ID as a foreign key in the bank account. So this time now, I get the prepared statement. My statement, set integer 1, whatever, execute query. And in my GUI, my swing GUI, I have a JTable. And I use this one, which is DB utils, to show you the quick information. So all the accounts of that customer will be shown. So whenever I change a customer, I do something like this, and I need to refresh the accounts. Okay. One more thing here. Do this. Okay. Do that. Next. And I really didn't know, because I didn't work on Java for since you were in 3rd grade. Okay. I didn't know JTable is a new thing, actually. It's not an old thing. I didn't know that if you can click here, you can take an what? Event. So when you click here, you take an event. What is the event, Heba? So this is part of the reason I wanted to also simplify it for you. I could ask you to show these account names as what? Drop-down list. So, and when you click on the account, you show the transactions related to what? To the account. But in reality, this is not the case. You want always to see all of them. You could use JList, but not JList, is it? Is it JList or list in Java? There is something like JList, but you can select one or multiple one. But now what's the next step? If you click on this one, show that on the second time, Bill Gates has no money, guys. Okay? If you click on this one, you show all the transactions related to what? That. So, what is the event, Hiba? You click here, I added an action listener, which is mouse. I can show you this in design. Right click on the table and then what? Add event listener, mouse listener. Mouse clicked. The event is what? Mouse clicked. Okay? So when you click on this one, I go and ask the table, get me the column and the row where the user what? Clicked. It's easy. Get selected row, get selected column. I'll show you the code here. Maybe also you know better ways, okay? But now here, okay, let me show you here. It should be somewhere here. Okay, see this one. Whenever you click, you know, account summary table, add mouse listener, you know these things, right? Now what happens here? I do what? Integer, row, account, get selected row, مظبوط? Get selected column. So I know the row and the column. Luckily, I defined a global integer called what? Current account number. If you want to get the value, خلاص هيو. The table, which is the account summary table, get value at what? Row and what? Column. خلاص. And the value there is what? Is my. Of course, this code could be improved. Maybe you don't want to do an action unless it's the left column. Yani you will do this only if the first column was clicked. You know what I mean, girls? Okay? But okay. Now you see, what I gained from this code. I know the cell, I know the row and know the column, and now I get the value of which one, what I want from this click. The account number. Okay? And now I call what? Show what? Transaction details. We'll use the third table, if you recall, right? The third table is what? Transactions, which is what? Okay, related to a certain account number, right? So show transaction details if you want. Once you see it, let me know. Show transaction details here. Very simple, okay? Which is what? Select star from what? Where account number is question mark. You know now what I mean by question marks, huh? Okay? Actually now it's easy. I don't have to go because I use some global variable for this one. Okay? What? Okay? If no transactions, and this is important, usually when you do a query, do not, tell the customer what happened, okay? If there are, maybe sometimes there are no transactions, right? Okay? If there are no transactions, I have a label, I set it to what? Otherwise, I have another J table and I use DB utils. Does that make sense? So now if we go back to the code, and I go to this account, you get my point. Very simple. When you click this, account number is registered, and mouse action, mouse listener is fired, mouse event, and I go and check the corresponding transactions. Does that make sense so far? Here I go for another one. Okay. Final thing, because no time, I have implemented also a deposit and what? Deposit. Okay, let's go to Bill Gates. Okay. No transactions. Let us deposit 100. Okay. He deposited 100. I don't see the transactions of his account. Huh? No. It should show the transactions for Bill Gates. Let us see. Okay. Let's do this for, who is this? John Smith. What is his ELF? It worked, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Let us do another one. Okay. Girls, tell me what happens when I deposit. Two things. Be careful now. Now we talk about transaction. Okay? You need to update the transactions table. And which one? The account balance. Yes or no? These things are called transactions. You know what transaction? A list of queries, update, insert, delete. They either can happen all of them or what? Or none. You know what I mean? You cannot add a transaction that Ziyad deposited money before, while not updating what? You right? Or you cannot deduct money from my account without adding this happened because of a transaction. You know what I mean? So we'll show you a transaction example. No time now to show you in the code. Like you can do so many queries and then you check some condition, Rima. If the condition is true, you say do all of them. Otherwise what? Back off. None. صح? Two people are coming, you know this example from operating system, right? Reserve a seat on a plane, صح? There is no seat at the end. One of them reserved a seat before what? 1 second before the other, right? The other guy they paid money. No, all cancel all what? All the transactions, okay? Right. The other example is what? Withdraw. What do you need to do with withdraw? Again, I do two transactions, not one. I do add a transaction that this guy withdraw. You see this here? Withdraw the amount on this date, okay? What is the other one? I need to update what? The balance, okay? John Smith went for shopping, withdraw. Does that make sense? But before I do withdraw, Reem, I need to check, does he have enough dinero in his account? Yes or no? You know what I mean? So, this is another way. You can do this, girls, either in Java, listen, you can do this either in Java or in SQL. In Java, how you can do it? Before you do the withdraw, you go and check what? The balance. If there is enough balance, you do all the transactions, the two. Update the transactions table and what? Deduct the amount from, now withdraw here, right? Okay? Withdraw, do you see withdraw? This is the last thing I'm going to show you. What? You see withdraw here? Girls, look at it. I'm doing it here now using Java, not SQL. I can do a procedure in SQL to prevent this action. What is it? Integer balance. Then I go and what? Select balance from where? Okay. And from the text box, I know how much you want to withdraw, right? So here, look at this if statement and you understand. What? Do nothing else. Go insert into transactions. Okay. Then what? Update the also what? Update bank account. You do these things. You know what I mean? We have done this using what? Java. The last thing here, خلاص, if he tries to withdraw now, you see, let us go نشوف واحد. Okay. Withdraw. Okay. Not enough balance to get money. Okay. Nothing happens. طيب إذا جينا حطينا okay, what's the number here? Okay, 331000. 331000. Okay. في شيء غلط صح؟ Not enough balance. Okay. 331. Okay. طيب. So when you have okay, I can do deposit now. Of course, you need to error in updated data. We know what the error was. The error. I need to click on the account number. There was no selected account number. Don't worry about this. But now what I showed you today is how to use prepared statements, how to use ARD Plus to generate a schema, then go to SQL Developer. It's all introduction. From SQL Developer, maybe today we see things like prepared statements. Mouse actions are very important when it comes to tables. No need to do so many things, drop down list. Just do the mouse and add action, get the location, update the thing. See you on Tuesday, 12 o'clock for Sunday, 3:30 for Tuesday.